Greetings, geeks. Welcome to episode 501 of Geeks in Space. I am Rob Commander Taco Malda, and I am joined today on this fine Friday afternoon by two of the greatest geeks that you're ever going to meet who are willing to pretend that they are in low Earth orbit for 30 minutes while they wait for their plumber to finish their plumbing. I have Chris DeBona.
Hello, everybody.
I'm Rob Roseboom.
Hi.
Rob, I feel like we just saw each other, and nothing new has transpired in our lives.
Well, it's been like 14 hours, so.
So I watched half of Lovecraft Country in that time.
How was it?
Oh, yeah?
I'm actually really enjoying it, and I decided that I was going to put it down and come back to it and watch the second half when I didn't have any distractions.
Cool.
It's
So can I ask you a question, Rob?
hit me.
When is that?
The show set?
No. When do you not
No.
have distractions?
The only times that I don't have distractions is right now when I'm hanging out with you guys, because as soon as I'm done hanging out with you guys, I'm going to return to my home, which is through the door right there in regular Earth orbit. And then my children will make one demand upon me every 35 minutes for the rest of the day. And that demand will usually be, why is he hitting me? Make him stop hitting me.
No, well, that's boys for you, I guess.
Also, every Thursday between 6 and 9.
That's true. That's my other window. So all told, I get about 6 hours a week. Actually, I'm going for lunch with Nate today. So I get like 7 hours a week where I don't have like a, let's say, what's the probability thing where they graph out over time what the odds are that an event is going to occur? There's like a chart for that. But it's that. But there's just there. But I'm trying to remember. There was like you used to do that in statistics where you'd have like a chart and a probability over time and the time. Anyway, there's like a 1 in
like an actuary table.
Maybe. But no, there. In any given minute, there's like a 3% chance that there's going to be a fight, and by the end of the hour, there's like a 90% chance that I'm going to have to go downstairs and threaten to turn off internet access or something, because that's how it works.
So my kids weren't really violent against each other. They have a big spread between them. It's like 5.5 years. But I remember the day that I was like, "What is wrong? Something's weird, right?" And I realized it had been a day or so where no one had cried for any reason whatsoever. I was like, wow, is this what adulthood can be like? This is amazing. It was just like, honestly, it was the best feeling thing that happened to me until I had my arm reset after dislocating. I was like, oh, this feels great. And then of course, like the next day,
Why? We do sort of have like a discussion where sometimes you'll get to you'll realize that it's like the middle of the day. It's like when you have a pitcher who's like in the eighth inning of a no-hitter. You don't say anything because you
don't want to ruin it.
Right? Maybe this will be the perfect game, and it's never the perfect game.
Not ever.
Not ever. All right, so we got relatively
some great
little
stories.
We got little today, but good today is what we got.
Well, first of all, so let's talk about things. But I've queued up the Aspen Plumbing biography on one of these pages, just for the record. So,
well, let's go there, man.
Okay, so today at Robert Roseboom's house, he has a plumber visiting, and I will say I couldn't come up with a better name. And Rob said this too. For a plumber, he's amazing. I'm like a huge fan of this guy. I hope he's a great plumber,
Well, I mean, we'll see.
Here we go. Butch Nutter. He enjoys spending time with his family, fishing and golfing. So, Rob, you got sent basically a dating profile of Butch.
I did, except for, most dating profiles don't come with, reviews underneath them, unfortunately.
Well, don't they though? So I haven't dated online, in the modern
2 stars, talks too much about herself.
Yeah, but
it had some. It was something we had talked about for a while, creating a Yelp for people. but you know, that becomes problematic.
It's called Facebook, man. Yeah, no. So we love this guy's name, and we came up with like stories about his name. You know, like maybe he's a cop, maybe he's a private eye, maybe he and Candy Gunderson are like, you know, animal taxidermists, you know, on call.
Right.
I mean, there's so many cool things you can do with a name like Butch Nutter.
I thought maybe he might be one of the more obscure Batman villains, and he has an allergy gun that he runs around, shoots people with.
It's like, bam, tree pollen.
Yeah.
Bam, lemons. You know, bam, cat dander.
Anyway, great freaking name, right?
Great name. You know, I love really good names. Like, what's another like great name? Like from Buckaroo Banzai, Pinky Carruthers was always one of my favorites. I was like, Pinky Carruthers, that's a fantastic name. You know, so.
God, there's one that we were just talking about around here too. Like we knew an electrician who had an electrical sounding name. There's a meme that goes around every now and then that you see. It's just a random tweet, which is, ladies, why don't you change your name when you get married? That's just disrespectful. And the response to it is some woman tweeting, because my name is Best, and her name is like Jennifer Best. My name is Best. I'm not changing it.
I think I knew a Jennifer Best once. I wonder if it's the same person.
I always felt bad for Kathleen. She took my name, which seems like a downgrade because her name has 4 letters and is easily pronounceable and spellable.
Fent's a great last name, you know?
Whereas
I don't know,
Mr. Roseboom and Mr. Malda both encounter any number of awkward scenarios with pronunciation.
For me, it's just the Z for some reason. The Z in there throws everyone off. They look at that and they come up with Rosenblatts and Rosenstern and all manner of names, you know.
All the Blatzes.
Yeah.
So when I look up her maiden name, related spellings include like a variety. This is thought to be of German/Roman origin. So I love last names because they always like indicate what they did, you know.
Yeah.
Back in the Middle Ages or whatever. It means farmer or farm contractor, but specifically one that supplied hay, which is exciting.
It's good to specialize.
Yeah. So.
All right. So we've got. All right. Let's talk about Flight Simulator because it seems like everybody on Twitter right now is installing Flight Simulator, showing screenshots of Flight Simulator. And complaining that installing Flight Simulator is hard or bad.
It's a little alpha. Let's just say it took me a full 24 hours to get to the point where I could take off.
And only 22 of it was you trying to figure out where the throttle was.
No, well, only like a few minutes, you know. But yeah. But it was funny because I was gonna fly by this area for the cast today, but I couldn't get the plane to take off. I couldn't unchock the wheels or something. I mean, I'm just like, you know. But yeah. So, but this is a really great moment in Flight Simulator,
right? So,
which actually has a lot to do with open culture and open source.
That's true. So the story in general, I guess, is that because I don't know where they were getting their maps from, if it was the Google Open Maps thing.
No. So this is an OpenStreetMap layer, right? Okay. Which brings up very interesting questions of, did they integrate their changes back into OSM under the open source database license? I don't know, but go ahead. Sorry.
No, so they used a third party to download the map data, expansion map data for Flight Simulator. And apparently there was one place where instead of a building being 2 stories in that map data, they had put in that it was 212 map stories. So the software being software just downloaded it and did what it thought was the right thing to do, which is the screenshot that you see on the page right now. Sorry, podcast listener.
Well, what's really funny about it is they also had an odd bit of their algorithm that corrected castles to houses. So there's some castles apparently throughout Europe, and people are like, but that's supposed to be a castle, but it's just a house. And it's like, what kind of weird corner of the algorithm that they used said, too castle-y, you know? I just thought it was really funny, you know?
I love it. That's fantastic. I hope that you can smash into it. I doubt it, but I'd like to see you try.
Yeah, Rob was saying, the other Rob, not you, Malda, was saying that they've already pulled this in a patch, which seems like a shame. But that's how it goes sometimes.
It's true. All good things have to die.
What, dude?
It's true, though. All good things do die. Like democracy, for example. Remember when we had that?
Well, still kind of
don't.
I mean,
I'm
strictly
not sure
speaking,
true.
we've never had democracy.
It's been a representative republic. But yeah,
that's true.
Yeah.
Oh, here's the thing that I learned yesterday, which is super dumb. And Chris, you're going to know this, and Rob, you're not going to care. But you know how on a PCI bus on your motherboard, there's the little tiny baby plugs, and then there's the regular full-size plugs for like all the channels. Sure.
Yeah.
So I needed an NVMe adapter, and so I just went onto Amazon and ordered one. And
as one does,
and it was like $12, whatever. They're not a big deal. And it arrives, and I discover that not only are there the super little ones, the things that I now understand to be called like PCIe X1, there are also and so there's the little tiny ones, and then there's the full size ones, but also there are ones that only take some of the pins. Like an intermediate size, which means that it has to go in my only available big slot, which I need for something else. And so I now have this $12 adapter, and I had to go and find a different adapter that actually fits in the X1 slot, because I looked at it on the webpage, right? And it's little. I'm like, cool, that'll fit in the little slot. But it turns out there's different degrees of little.
What's funny is sometimes you can take the and this is actually true going back to like the I think it was the EISA bus and the ISA bus, where they would ship cards, but they wouldn't want to have the full connection, or they don't need the extra PCI lanes in modern parlance. And so you get these things, you're like, this is not going to fit. This is dumb. But if you just put it in, it's fine. Or you could like have overhanging card. It's got like a little chip in it, right? Not a computer chip, but like a little cutout. And so you can just put it in the thing. And if you don't have the rest of the card slot, no problem. It'll just use the one PCI lane versus the 16. Okay,
it's cool.
No skin off my bones. And I'm like, it's one of those things where I've learned you can just plug it in and see if it works, because sometimes it does.
This is like how everybody told me that after I cracked the pin off of that CPU that I should just stick it in and see if it works, because most of it, like a lot of the pins don't actually matter, and they're probably just there for aesthetic reasons. No.
Well, aesthetics, no. But
I'm not speaking literally. I'm speaking humorously.
Did you try it though?
I did.
Did you try it?
I did.
And it didn't work.
It did not work.
It was a real pin.
It was a real pin. It was a real pin.
Yeah.
I was super bummed.
What was this chip? Was this this was an Intel, right?
No, this was a Ryzen. This was a 3900.
So that's the AM4 standard. So it's like the pin output diagram.
So yeah, it was all good because I got one. I got it RMA'd, so no problem.
Yeah.
All right.
That was nice of AMD.
It was. I was actually a little surprised. Because I ordered another one in the intermediate time and then sold it to somebody. Well, I traded it to Uriah for a big pile of spare parts that are now my children's gaming PCs.
Nice.
All right, so
remember which pin it was, Rob? I would like to.
It was. Can you zoom out further? Because I don't think. Yeah. Oh, it was.
So here's your cutouts.
It was one of the corners. I bet it was that yellow corner.
It was a single corner pin? No, that's fine to break.
No, it was.
There's no signal.
No, it was a corner pin, but it wasn't. It might not have been on the exact corner. It might have been.
It was like one of these corners.
It might have been one of those. Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, it was cracked off. It was no good. I tried it.
Yeah, because these are transmission lines. Here's, I think VSS is what voltage. It's like a voltage line, so it brings power into a given part of the chip. So yeah, okay.
It's all right now. It's all taken care of. But it is weird that a lot of those pins just don't matter. That's the first thing everybody tries. They say, the other thing that they say is just take the broken pin and drop it in the hole, and then put the CPU on top and see if it connects. Apparently, that's a thing too.
Sure.
Right, Sure.
Why
cool.
not? Yeah, just put a little bit of glue on it, and lick it,
We'll
and then put it in there, So,
gaffer tape.
I'll lick it and stick it. Yeah. So
okay.
this is voltage supply, so I could see that failing. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was one.
But like if it had been this one, the reserved pin, whatever. No one cares. That's for suckers.
It was dumb how I broke it too. It stuck to the thermal paste of the CPU, Ooh. And so when I was trying to remove the cooler, it just pulled right out. But I didn't know that it pulled all the way out, and so when I tried to tighten a screw and the pin got bent, it was totally dumbass user error.
Yeah, I'd say about 5% of these pins you could lose, and
yeah. It's like a car. I mean, you can lose like 5% of the parts of the engine, and it still works.
Yeah, totally. Right. I mean, you don't need all those cylinders.
How many tires do you really need?
One.
In your tank?
Have you seen Gizmo?
Nice
Duck?
Reference, Mr. Roseboom.
Gizmo Duck has a single wheel. And he's a unicycle duck. Olivia Wilde is rumored now to be directing a female-centered Marvel movie at Sony. I keep forgetting that Sony still owns all the Spider-Man characters. So supposedly it's Spider-Woman. Although I was like, when I read that, I was kind of bummed because I actually kind of had Olivia Wilde as being like, she'd be a really cool one to get to do a She-Hulk or something. I'd rather, because like,
they supposedly they have what's the name of the lead from Glow?
Alison Brie.
Yeah, Alison Brie is supposed to be She-Hulk.
I like her a lot.
That'd be great, actually. That's inspired casting. I mean, let's get real. That'd be really funny.
She's a tiny little girl. So the idea of her hulking out. I mean,
Alison Brie is?
Yeah. She did Unikitty in the Lego movie. She was the voice, and Unikitty at some point rages out and goes and becomes like enraged and powerful, and like so. I mean, you're gonna have to add some reverb, I think, to her voice, because I don't think that an enraged Unikitty is gonna work for She-Hulk. But
yeah, she's 5'3".
Yeah.
I thought she was taller than that.
No, she's a little one. But Olivia Wilde directed Booksmart, and Booksmart is really good.
Yeah.
Like I guess they seem to be going out of their way now to get ladies to direct the lady movies, which is pretty cool. But there's not like that many of them. Because they got a lady for Captain Marvel 2.
And Wonder Woman.
Yeah. But it's the same thing. It's a pipeline problem, and it sucks. But
what about Black Widow? Did Black Widow have a woman director?
I don't think so. Or was it a co-director? There's also I've never really understood the co-directing thing because there's a lot of those going on now too.
Yeah, but you know what would be great?
Kate Shortland. So that's good.
If they tapped more of these female directors for movies other than movies about females, right?
They apparently women can only understand the female experience, and they can't understand
the
male
this isn't
version.
Sexist. We got a girl flick that we want some of you gals to direct. How about that?
Hey, you gals, and then you guys can all synchronize and stuff, and
yeah.
I mean,
ridiculous.
But anyway. I guess, but there's also the problem where, generally speaking, they put a little less money into the movies that are the women movies because they don't expect them to do Wonder Woman numbers.
What? That's insane, Rob. Are you saying that Hollywood is kind of mildly sexist at times?
Kind of mildly, for sure. But also, if you think about it, when Star Wars goes off the rails. In the eyes of 1% of the fan base, you give it back to J.J. Abrams, the safest director you possibly could give it to. Like there's so risk averse with the big franchises that you don't give necessarily the $250 million movies to untested directors so much anymore. You want somebody who's got that background. I liked Booksmart.
And then you
a
get
lot.
cinematic Then you get cinematic McDonald's.
Yeah.
You know.
The woman who directed Little Women, what's her name?
Yeah.
She did.
Was she a little person?
No, she was a regular sized person. She was in Frances
Different
Ha.
movie, Chris.
She was in the
Frances
star of
Ha.
Frances
That's
Ha.
a name.
No, she was a director. The director of Frances Ha. She was the star of it too. She like I'd like to see like her get like one of the more dialogue heavy shows. You know who she could do? Like West Coast Avengers. If they were to bring something like that out, because that's like an ensemble of weirdos. And I think, you know, like Little Women, like, you know, lets you like the characters in that were all really well performed, really well directed, really well written. You could do something like with the West Coast Adventures, because you don't want to do that with like Inhumans. I don't know what they're gonna do with the Inhumans, or not the Inhumans. The what's the one that Angelina Jolie?
New Mutants?
No,
Not Eternals.
Eternals. Yeah.
Eternals. Yeah.
I don't know what's gonna happen with that. All right.
I mean, you know how I feel about this. I think that they have a real uphill battle to make Phase 5 work.
Whatever
you know?
phase we're
So,
in. I mean, the Eternals is exactly the same problem that they had with Guardians of the Galaxy. It is a almost totally unknown franchise to the mainstream audience, and the characters, nobody knows the characters, and the characters themselves don't really intersect with the rest of the MCU. So it gives you a lot of open canvas to play with. And if you hit a home run, like Guardians of the Galaxy is a great friggin' movie. You hit a home run and you're gonna do great. And I don't know if it's gonna be a home run.
So I think you're missing an opportunity here. The right answer is Butch. I think Butch could direct the Eternals and just do what he does all the time, which is excel.
He brings his A game.
Yeah.
He brings his A game.
Let's see. So,
Well,
do you like my cool effects?
Pounding.
Yeah.
You hear some clunking?
Oh, you hear some pounding?
Yeah, he's for sure doing something in there.
Wow.
I don't know if he's, getting to another power level or,
leveling up a little.
working on his super vehicle if he has one,
So I had a cool one up there. It was an art project, and you can't actually watch the video, but it's showing sunrise and sunset real time, 24/7 across unsecured CCTV cameras. And there was a hacker news story that went through not that long ago, where it was just somebody was crawling the web for unsecured CCTVs, and you could just basically plug in a zip code, and like there are thousands of them just publicly accessed or publicly on the internet. No passwords, nothing. And this guy has an art installation project, has Following the Sunset around the world. I imagine that the two pictures that they're looking at right there in your screenshot are probably not examples of the typical quality that you find on an unsecured TV camera. But, hey.
Hey, who knows?
Just as a straight up art project, I like that. As an educational piece, I like that. I like the idea that like people should probably know more about that. And there's a lot of creepy stuff about that. Like you can buy cameras that are like designed to sit in electrical boxes, and they just look like regular electrical boxes. And people are just bolting them to like telephone poles and stuff. And nobody knows if they're government agents that are doing it or if they are like being done by pranksters or criminals that are spying on your house, but they're just popping up all over the place. You can buy them on Amazon.
Well, there was a story about this, wasn't there? Where someone, a protester, an activist, they installed, I think it was in Ohio, they installed cameras across from his house, and he caught him doing it. Ooh. So yeah, this is only like a couple of days ago here. Camera, telephone pole, or electrical pole found. Here we go. And news. Activists find camera. Here we go. Yeah. There was a picture of it in there. Oh, there's so many pop-ups on this site.
The internet's ruined.
Yes. Camera pull found.
Yeah, but those things, yeah, like what's happening up there, that sort of thing is not unusual now. Like you can buy just like disguised cameras, and people are just putting them places, and it's not clear who.
I have to tell you, one of my favorite things to do is go onto AliExpress and look for wacky things like this. So if you type in hidden camera IP for an IP camera, you know, not for like peeing, you know, you've got like here, this is just a wacky tab. So you've got like, you know, built into clock radios, built into fidget cubes. No, I have no idea what that is. But like all kinds of like wacky teeny.
Did you ever follow Foon?
Yeah, I mean,
light bulb. Yeah, I did for a little bit, but he started reposting so much like,
yeah, he's chatty.
Like sex dolls.
Well, that was the story I was going to say. He went on to AliExpress and just posted like all kinds of weird sex toys that he found, and they're funny.
So creepy, dude.
They have them for electrical socket covers too now.
Yeah.
Oh, here you go. Here, I'll take socket. There you go. Yeah.
Yeah, you can put a camera anywhere now. It's creepy. I mean, Rob hasn't found any of the cameras that I've hidden in his house.
Oh yeah, did he look in the bathroom?
Here's the secret. I found them all.
That explains.
You don't think those?
I just don't care.
That's why I keep tuning in at 8:15. That's a good show. That's my favorite.
You don't think those poses are a mistake, do you?
Very flexible.
I don't make mistakes, Chris.
So I put up a story. I don't know if we talked about it. I put up a penny arcade. But it's about Lovecraft Country. But it is also about HBO and their idiotic branding thing.
We talked about it briefly, but we didn't show it. I don't know how long we should show like other comics like this without getting a copyright strike. That's a good question.
Everybody should go to Penny Arcade because Gabe and Tico are awesome, and you should be subscribed.
Here, I'll make it really small so it's hard to see. There you go.
Anyway, the gist of it is that he can't subscribe. He can't figure out how to watch HBO because is it on HBO Go, HBO Max, HBO, all of the different HBOs, but also
Express.
HBO Lite, HBO The Blumper,
HBO Extra Crunchy,
Extra Crunchy Roll, HBO Nexus One. Yeah, so
HBO for her.
HBO
ship it. Yeah.
Rosemary and olive oil.
HBO strong enough for a man, but pH balanced for a woman's BO.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So I had a story that you haven't posted yet.
Well, I just wanted to say we didn't talk about Lovecraft Country, and
you've seen it.
And I'm halfway in, and you guys should watch it. I'm excited to see.
Is it good?
It's weird. What I really like, and on the channel yesterday, somebody mentioned the same thing because I mean, obviously Lovecraft is notoriously racist, and the show like straight up just is like, yep, he's totally racist, and they grab the bull by the horns and they start wrestling it. So, and the opening sequence has some cool monsters.
Oh yeah, do they have like tentacles?
Yeah, faces ripping open. Yeah, it was.
So
Ambalu is the one who said it's good, and he's exactly right. It's so far really good, and I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with it.
Cool.
Because Lower Decks hasn't enthralled me, and the only thing coming out now is The Boys.
I saw that the third episode landed, but I didn't dare watch it yet.
Yeah,
I'm trying to decide if I'm going to give it a third try or not.
You guys saw the second episode, right?
Yes. Did you?
I didn't watch it. I'm
10 minutes in, and I got to tell you, I don't know anything that happened because it was playing while a conversation was occurring with my wife, and I got 10 minutes into the episode, and I realized I hadn't paid attention to any of the dialogue, and I realized I didn't care.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm not sure paying attention is necessary.
Yeah.
Or warranted.
Really, you can just probably pick up whenever.
That's true. I mean, I guess that's true of most sitcom style shows, right? The status quo doesn't change. So Okay, Chris, you had one more thing you wanted to get?
Well, I had two things that I posted in the channel. The first was this Magic Leap story that came out this morning. So I guess right before the developers, or right after they were laid off of one of their experiences, they released this thing called The Last Light, which they describe as a mixed reality experience that's not a game, more akin to a short film. And I'm like, this is why you all went out of business. It's like, enough with the thought experiments around augmented reality. I'm like, people want a game or they want a movie, So
yeah. Well, I mean, they're in the exact same place as all the VR game makers are. Like, it's hard for game makers to make VR that works as a game. Like, there's only, like, Alex is the only one that people generally like. The other ones that people talk about are really more akin to the virtual reality experience, that you're interacting mildly within a story. We're actually kind of at the same place right now with AR and VR as we were in the early 90s with full motion video, where we're making crap like Night Trap and The Seventh Guest. Like, we're still
but The Seventh Guest had puzzles that were fun.
No,
like
right.
I was going to say The
Stuff to
Seventh
do.
Guest.
The Seventh Guest puzzles are garbage.
Oh, here we go.
But
here we go.
They're still puzzles, though.
True.
I mean,
Yeah, there's still something to do.
Doesn't look like it looks like this is competing against the fireplace channel on my dish. You know what I mean?
Or the aquarium.
Yeah, and those are both really hard competitors. Their workforce isn't very big over at the fireplace channel.
So what you want is
there's a beautiful fox climbing across the bridge. Observe the fox in augmented reality. Enjoy the fox. And it's like, oh my God, give me something to do, or just get out of my face.
Well, I mean, again, like I said, like, we don't have the pieces in place to make all of this work yet. Like, augmented reality, like, you've got to like okay, like when I looked at that island, I immediately thought of like Populous or Black and White. Like a God game from the 90s. And like,
sure,
you want to reach in and you want to pick that dude up and throw him in the lake, like Black and White. But like doing that on your tablet while you're physically looking at the image with it superimposed on your coffee table, like, we just don't have, people haven't figured it out yet.
Well, no, I guess the idea would be you would be able to reach out with your godlike hand and you would grab him by the scruff of his neck and fling him, and your tracking would work and that would all work, right? That was sort of the Magic Leap thing. It's like a seamless blending of the world of the computer and reality, and it's like, okay, I get that, but you have to actually give that. You can't just have a sort of smudgy thing in your line of focus that you can't get out of the way and is kind of blurry. It's like,
it's really frustrating because I was trying to play like Half-Life Alyx and that's fun, but like, I never got off out of the lobby. I'm just like taking soda cans and throwing them up and trying to catch them with my other hand. Like, that's the level that we're kind of at with this technology. Yet, like, we're still trying to figure out how to get out of the lobby, and it's no different than how. Did you ever play Phantasmagoria or something like that? Like circa 1994, no. Like one of the really mediocre full FMV games. I mean, we've just got to figure out what the right line is, because like the migration from text parsers to clicky parsers to full motion video, and then kind of that adventure genre sort of died off and got replaced by like more complicated, faster, twitchier type games. We've got to figure that same stuff out. We're at the tech demo stage.
So I have to tell you, if you ever get to go to Taiwan, you should go to Viveland. Okay, so Viveland is in the main sort of, there's like an Akihabara, Huajianbei kind of electronics district in Taiwan. And it's fantastic, by the way. But on the third floor of the main sort of electronics mall, third or fourth floor, is Viveland. And what it is, it's HTC's sort of playground for virtual reality. And they have, honestly, and it was supremely well done. They had a paragliding simulation where you sit in this like thing and it pulls the thing around while you're in it, and you've got the goggles on. Super fun. It had the what I loved, and I played like 7 times. They had a full motion racing seat
Oh yeah, I've done a
you
few of
know,
those.
with
They're awesome.
pedals and the rest with the VR goggles,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it was fantastic. It was so much fun. And like, yeah, so it's like I think that VR, especially when coupled with motion, is fantastic. It's really neat. You know, it's really the way to do it. But like anytime you have to look at your feet, it's like, oh,
Oh yeah.
excuse me. You know, it's like, you know, I think that, yeah, it's one of those things.
Like I say, for me, I'm less interested in VR as I am the augmented reality stuff. I'm like, that is what I want more than anything because it would be useful. Like
It'd be useful for like database queries of the world around you. I don't see it as being useful as entertainment. I think we have a long way to go just with VR before we can even think about making AR work. You know, so.
I don't know, because if you're doing VR, you have to render the entire area. Like there's a lot of just heads up display stuff that you could just do. Like Google Glass, you know, for all of its flaws, the notion of just having the heads up display, you know, that like puts on the side of my glasses the reminder of who this person is that I haven't seen in 3 weeks and what's their name, or 3 years. What's like little heads up helpful displays like that. Maps for when you're driving. You know, I still have this notion that you know, at some point in the future, the idea that you would hang a 60-inch piece of glass on your wall and have you all stare at it would go away, and everybody would just have their AR glasses. And even if you wanted to watch the same show, you know, where it sits within your frame of view could vary from person to person. Like I feel like all of those use cases, like there's a lot of them that are easier and useful, and over time we'll develop the more accurate stuff, like the Minecraft thing where you can like reach in and pick the block up out of the pretend Minecraft, the demos that Microsoft was doing back in the day with their system.
With their HoloLens or whatever.
HoloLens, yeah. I mean, everybody's flirting with it. Somebody's going to get a killer app. And until then, we're going to be playing with tech demos.
Yeah. Or worse, interactive fiction. But not in a good way, not like in a choose your own adventure way, more like this, you know, this last light stuff. So, so that was one thing. The other thing I had that you didn't post yet is this. It's like, it looks like sort of a Terminator ripoff. I don't know, Monsters of Man. So there's a lot of like,
I don't see it,
like Canadian actors who are around robots, and then robots turn their head dramatically.
So from what I could tell, these are military robots that they send out to, you know,
to Nicaragua,
basically for hit squads, and they run amok. Basically, this is the plot to Rambo, the first Rambo remake, the modern Rambo remake, except
Special Forces.
it is the people who were controlling the robots, like the users, like drone pilots, and one of them was in Special Forces. But other than that, it is the exact plot to the.
So wait a minute, are they fighting the
most
robots?
recent Rambo remake?
So I think it's
the robots come and wipe out this village.
Oh, okay.
But
with like a bunch
doctors.
of like MSF doctors, right? And so one of the robot operator drone controller guys, he goes rogue and he's going to fight the robots, and the robots are under control of the big bad, you know, military contractor.
So it's kind of Chappie,
I think
but without
one
Chappie.
of the doctors. Yeah, I think one of the doctors is ex Special Forces too.
Yeah. No, he's a, you know, this president was ex Special Forces and a Medal of Honor winner. Those terrorists don't know what they've got on Air Force One, you know.
Right.
So yeah.
Right. It's that sort of thing.
Oh wait. Here's the scene they use like 4 times. It's just the wait for it. Whoa. It's so funny. Anyway, so
is that a Netflix thing or is that a real thing?
I think they're gonna release it to streaming. Available worldwide. So I don't know. I see an Amazon Prime, an Apple TV, a Google Play, a Microsoft, an Xbox, a YouTube, and a Vimeo on demand at the along the bottom.
Yeah, we know what that means.
It was cheap to make, and they're going to sell it however they can.
Right. Well, September 3 is still the alleged release date of Tenet, and this weekend is the 15-cent movie theater tickets at AMC. So we'll see.
Yeah,
if
are you gonna go to the movie theater and catch COVID for 15 cents?
My wife will not allow me to go to a movie theater in this situation.
Well, New Mutants is still scheduled the end of this month, right?
No one's gonna die for the New Mutants, Rob.
Right?
No one's gonna die. You know.
Tenet in an IMAX theater. So if I were to buy a daytime show they have reserved seats, right? So I could buy like a perimeter of chairs and sit myself in the middle of like a 6-chair ring for a couple $100. Maybe that's what I'll do. That's not what I'm gonna do. I feel a little awkward even, I'm going out for lunch today where I will eat outside and get out food from far away from people. And even that makes me nervous.
Yeah, we have this thing where we do backyard drinks and appetizers, that kind of thing, so we're doing that on Saturday at a friend's place. But yeah, it's been okay though,
The closest I've been to other human beings is sitting on Rob's boat, where we are pretty good at maintaining 6-foot social distancing.
That's because it's a monster pontoon boat.
Well, it also helps if we have over 4 other people besides me. If Roger can take his boat out and lash it onto the side of my boat, which we did again last night.
Form the flotilla.
Building the flotilla is a good way for the,
That's how we defeat viruses. All right, folks.
That's right.
Let's say goodbye. I have chores to do. Goodbye, Chris DeBona.
Later.
Goodbye, Rob Roseboom.
Goodbye.
This has been episode 501 of Geeks in Space. I'm Rob Commander Taco Malda, and stay safe, wash your hands. See you Monday.